I met Ishvan first at the Media Wave Festival back in 1993. And you know, we made contact, we enjoyed each other's music, but then we weren't in touch for a long time. Then we got back in touch in 2008 at the museum night. Actually, I saw him in a performance at the museum night, and we've been in touch ever since. And I've been over here about 4 or 5 times in that since then. Let's see. It's usually for several. One time we did a few performances, and then we had a recording session. And then one time we had performances here, and we also played in Belgium. So it's, yeah, this time is a little unusual. We're really only performing once together at this festival. Music to me, from the beginning of my being involved in improvised music and appreciating improvised music, it's always had the social, cultural aspect to it. And to me, it's about how people are going to be stronger, how they're going to be together. And I, just for my own performance in music, I felt like the way I could bring that to performance is poetry. Because sometimes people come and they listen to music and they like the music and they just forget the music. And I don't want people to forget me. So you know, and I want people to think. I mean, our music is about, you know, while you're listening to music, maybe you're not thinking right then, but I want people to have something afterwards they can think about. So I feel that, I know myself, when I go to performances, I like seeing it all, feeling it all. And I think poetry and music together it sort of asks us to just use the whole brain, use the whole consciousness. So that's how I got into it. Well, when I started out, I wasn't using my own poetry. And then at one point I got brave enough to start adding my own poetry. And so now pretty much I just do my poems, and they're usually not improvised. You know, I think about doing improvised poems, but to me that's very hard. That's very hard, and I'm not that good. You know, to me, it would not come out as strong as I would expect from when I write it down and think about it. And I don't have a book published. I mean, I think I'm close to having enough where I probably should somehow manage to get a book out, but I haven't done it yet. Sometimes I don't memorize it. Sometimes I just read it. For instance, when I perform tonight, it'll depend on how confident I feel. You know, I pretty much have it memorized, but I might feel at the last minute, I might feel like, let me take it out there with me. Because it is hard. It is hard, because you're thinking about the music, which is here and there and all over, and the words are exact and precise. So yeah, it is hard. But I mean, that's part of the challenge, though. I mean, if you think somebody is doing something that's challenging, then you pay attention. Well, they must care enough about it that they're going to do this. They're going to try to do this. Being in the States doesn't make it any easier to perform free music or music with poetry. I mean, you know, the popular forms of entertainment are pretty much the same in the States and here. And if you're doing something that's out of the mainstream, you know, it's a little bit more difficult. So what that means, one thing that means is that it's hard to work with the same people all the time. So you're working with different people. I try to, you know, like, you're familiar with my doing poetry and music. And I try to make that known to folks so that if I ask them to play with me, they know I do poetry and music, so they know that right from the beginning I'm asking them maybe to do something they are not completely familiar with, just so that we can try something else. I would say free improvised music became much more recognized in the 60s. But you know, Sun Ra, for instance, he's before the 60s, 50s, maybe going into the 40s even. You know, I think there's been free music for a long time, but in terms of it really becoming something that a lot of people were aware of, yeah, the 60s. I mean, you have Albert Ayler, you have Ornette, you have Coltrane, you know, evolving all the time, Archie Shepp. Yeah, those are the folks that, you know, those were the first folks I got into. I don't want to demean what's going on in the States, but it's hard. It is hard. It is, I would say there's less interest in free music, free creative music now than just about any time I know. You know, it's not on the ascendance. I mean, the best thing I could imagine is staying still, but I basically think it's downhill. It's a battle, and you know, I think there are a lot of reasons for that, but it's a social. To me, that's why the music and the poetry, because I think there is, for lack of a better term, a cultural struggle going on, and you have to be strong in this cultural struggle, and you have to be as strong now as any other time. Nobody, you know, it's not like in the States or anywhere else I know of where people are like, oh, you know, free music, oh, people are running towards it. No, it's, people appreciate it. I mean, I wouldn't do it. If I thought people didn't appreciate free music, I probably wouldn't do it. But my experience is people appreciate it, but they're not exposed to it very much. And it's hard for free musicians, very creative musicians, to find places when it's not, you know, the mainstream. But the people appreciate it.